Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, I hope you and everyone is doing okay this morning. Let me just check before we kick off. Guys, if you enjoy what I'm putting down, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support this work through PayPal or Patreon. You can also support through Streamlabs. There's a link in the description box. It's a mock, or it's a super chat alternative that would allow you to give immediately. A little Vulcan will come up to thank you for that contribution to the show if you give it during the show. Also, whatever you say in that mock give, I will raise it in what I call a power chat. So I'm calling this a power chat. Anytime you get through Streamlabs, my way of kind of replicating Super Chat is to give a power chat. All right, so coming from this kind of debasing myself in order to fundraise, one of my subscribers, Jeff Kuntz, sent me something that is dramatically important, and it's something that I haven't seen getting a huge amount of attention, but should get more attention. The two superpowers. But let's start it this way. The United States has taken its role in the world as being a unipolar power. It is the sole and only superpower with the fall of the Soviet Union. Great. What happens when that superpower, or just in the normal way of operating with that superpower, when it comes across other countries that doesn't necessarily want to acquiesce to all of its whims and its wants? Other countries in the world exist. That is true. The United States doesn't like to think that way. It wants to have this kind of influence over all of the world. And the moment that these various countries try to assert their independence, there is friction. Neocons had said they were going to go through multiple countries, at least going by Walker, General Walker. General Wesley Clark, that they were going to go through 7 Islamic countries, ending with Iran. And for all intents and purposes, that does seem like that was the game plan, because that seemed like that's what they've been trying to do. Well, Syria, they weren't able to take down Syria. Now, whether it was not necessarily anticipating Russia and Iran coming to the aid of Syria or not, it was very clear that the goal was to take down the Syrian government, Bashar al-Assad. That government didn't fall. It had help from Russia and Iran and propping up that government to essentially hold back the night. If you talk to the people in the country itself, meaning if you look at the YouTube clips of the people, they will tell you, even if they are against Bashar al-Assad, they are not in favor of a bunch of terrorists taking over. When Tulsi Gabbard visited Syria, what she came back with was, why are we paying terrorists to invade their country and to kill and rape their civilian population? That's what they're saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's what the people who live there are saying. Not to mention the Christian population who was living under Bashar al-Assad, who was essentially saying, oh my God, these people are bloodthirsty terrorists and they're going to murder me. Why, the United States? Why are you paying these people money and resources to do this to our population? They've killed hundreds of thousands of us. Why are you assisting these people in doing this? We don't see that side in the mainstream media. You see the side that what the United States is doing is somehow right, and everything that Bashar al-Assad is doing is wrong. He may be a bad guy, but I guarantee you, between him being a bad guy and a terrorist, they'll take him being a bad guy. The thing in the story that I've put out was that we are reaching a dramatic problem, an inflection point. The United States has a view of reality. Any chemical weapon strike that takes place is coming from Bashar al-Assad. And as such, it gives us firm pretext to attack. No, the legal order of the world doesn't accept that. And no, our own laws doesn't accept that. But the political winds push to that. Hey, what are you going to do, Donald Trump? Are you going to do something about it? And Donald Trump, being forced into a confrontation each time something like this comes up, is stuck in the unenviable position of going along with it. He's a reality show host. Is he going to push back against the political winds, especially when those political winds are continuously saying that he is having some kind of love affair with Vladimir Putin. And any pushback on what the political winds are saying from the standpoint of Syria would be tantamount to agreeing that there is some kind of collusion with Vladimir Putin. This is what's taking place in regards to our politics. The problem here is that what each side, the United States and Russia, are considering to be reality are divergent. They're calling reality different things. I say that's blue, you say that's orange. And let's debate about it. The problem here is it's not a debate. It becomes a fight, a firefight, because one side has said, if you go so far as to do anything about that being blue, because I said it's blue, then I am going to respond. The other side saying the same thing, but this time the world being orange. That's a tortured analogy. Let's just be specific. The United States, with this psychic Nikki Haley, has said any chemical weapons that are released belong to the Syrian government. I know it in advance. If anything happens from the standpoint of chemical weapons, no. The last point wasn't the Syrian government. The last point didn't exist at all, according to the OPCW. And even the times before that for the chemical weapons strike, yes, Bashar al-Assad's government did have chemical weapons, but so did the terrorists. But Nikki Haley, any chemical weapons strike that takes place, wink, wink, we will accept it as Bashar al-Assad. Now, this is nonsense. Bashar al-Assad has taken back his country. This is the last bastion of terrorists. What reasoning would he have to do this? That said, this has been what Nikki Haley is saying, throwing this pretext in the air of a red line. If anything happens, we would consider it Bashar al-Assad. Wink, wink. Russia has taken the contrary point of view. Bashar al-Assad has no reason to do this, and the United States and his Western partners have been engaged in a bit of stagecraft, staging chemical weapons strike in order to create a pretext for action. The United States and Western powers wants Bashar al-Assad out, and they're willing to do what they need to do to get him out, even if that means staging a chemical weapons strike. That's been the perspective of the Russian government. Now, who's right? I would argue that matters less than what both sides are willing to do with their version of reality. The United States has said, even though it's in a country completely illegally, that it has given itself a pretext to strike, that the chemical weapons strike has taken place, meaning they will strike Damascus. Russia has already said, if you strike Damascus, particularly if our troops are there, we will respond. We will not allow you to take down this government. Now, the threat by the United States is a big fucking deal. They've gone so far as to have live action exercises in somebody else's country. Imagine the ridiculousness of this. You're illegally in somebody else's country and you're having live fire exercises. You're breaking the law. You're breaking your own law, let alone international law. I don't understand why the United States believes it's in the right. Of all the people that are supposed to be there, it is the Syrian governments. Whatever you want to think of Bashar al-Assad, he is the rightful party in that government. Whatever you want to think of Vladimir Putin, Bashar al-Assad has invited him. And whatever you want to think about Iran, he has invited Iran to assist him. The legalities are there, are with them, not with us. And to this, Russia has come out with a bombshell report saying that elements have started to stage a chemical weapon strike, that they are seeing the stagecraft taking place. In fact, let me show you the story. This is Sputnik. Stage filming of mock chemical attack has begun in Ilib, Russian Ministry of Defense. Now, again, I make the point to you, all conflicts use media as a weapon. So understand, whether this story is right or wrong almost matters less than how firm these guys are in the brinksmanship that they are pushing. I understand that some people think this will never amount to war. You don't know that. This can tumble into a conflict very fast. And you can end up in a situation of brinksmanship where they didn't believe or they misanticipated the actions of the other country. And at a certain point, it all becomes automatic political process, where the person who's in power can't step back of what they've initiated. This is dramatically dangerous. This is, to some degree, a new Cuban Missile Crisis. But instead of having John F. Kennedy at the helm, you have Donald Trump. That's where we are. People are eating their Cheerios and going about their day at work, and they're missing the fact that there are large political events that is overhanging their heads. They're talking about filming that is going to take place within the course of a few days. And they're talking about video being handed over. Let's just read. As the Russian Center for Syrian Reconciliation reported, all the fake footage of the chemical attack designated to facilitate the implication of the Syrian government forces is expected to be sent to different television channels before the end of the day. Before the end of the day. The Russian military added that the militants had bought 2 containers loaded with a chlorine-based toxic substance to Jiz al-Shigar to make the provocation seem natural. The plot envisions chemical screens showing activists from the civil defense white helmets helping the residents of Jiz al-Shigar after the Syrian army allegedly used so-called barrel bombs with poisonous substances, the center said. According to the center, all videos of provocations shot in al-Shigar will be handed to broadcasters at the end of the day after being released via social media. Later in the day, Syrian human rights activists and public figures, Jamarl has confirmed to Sputnik that a group of 30 representatives of the White Helmets have arrived in Ilib to organize a provocation. According to the human rights activists, the White Helmets arrived Tuesday morning with tanks of an unknown gas. At the moment, they are located in grain storage sites. The information following Sunday's Wall Street Journal report that the United States Defense Department might be mulling the idea of striking Russian or Iranian military forces, adding that the Syrian government, if they were to launch an assault on Ilib. The report added that the United States will specifically decide whether to strike Russian air defense installations. What does that mean? What does that mean? If the United States strikes Russian air military facilities, what do you think that the Russian government is going to do? What do you think they're going to do? Would they be justified in doing it? Fuck yeah. We're in their country, not the other way around. So that's what's taking place right now. Russia is saying that the United States government is working with the terrorists in order to essentially facilitate a chemical weapons strike or to stage a chemical weapons strike. The United States is saying any chemical weapons strike that takes place under the Russian government or the Syrian government. And both sides are saying that the actions that are about to take place give them firm pretext and justification to attack the other. What is that? Is that me being hyperbolic? Or is that just what it is? Is that just what it is? All right, I'll leave it here. I'm not going to keep this long. Jamal, did you hear about the white phosphorus attack in Eastern Ghouta? Yeah, Tabitha, I did that story yesterday. Look, I've said going back over a year ago that we've been funding terrorists in this region of the globe. I said going back months ago that the Israeli government were working with the terrorists in order to create a buffer zone in Eastern Ghouta. I haven't wavered on this point, and I've been this way going all the way back from Jake Tapper talking with what's her name? From the senator, from the representative from Hawaii. I can't think of her name. It'll come to me. I haven't budged on this point. Now, I think it's a big deal that we're funding terrorists. Even saying it sticks in your throat a little bit. I don't understand why others don't think it's a big deal. And I don't understand why the media kind of gives this a shrug. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. All right, I'm going to end this here. God, I don't know why I can't. I saw her. She did a video with Joe Rogan. I can't think of her name. It'll come to me the moment that I end this video. She should run for office, meaning for president. She would get my vote. There are very few people, meaning in the Democratic Party, that will run, that will get my vote. She is one of them. Love her to death. Tulsi Gabbard, that's it. Thank you, Tabitha. All right, I'm going to end this one here. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and you can always support the Patreon. Thanks all.